Breaking in the Morning. This is actually Immap's version of Kapihan. And we talk about hot issues of the day for the last 5 months. So today, our topic is about advertising to children, and we will be hearing about guidelines on how to do advertising to a very niche market, the children. But first of all, let's all welcome Immap's Vice President, Mike Palacios.
Hi, good morning everyone. So we've been doing this breaking in the morning for the last 4 months already. And we've covered everything from DTI to election laws. And so this is the installment today. We're going to be talking about advertising to children. And there are a lot of global global measures being taken, or mutual agreements on what we can and what we should or shouldn't do as marketers. This is particularly personal for me because I have a 4-year-old, and so for once my family life and my work life are starting to come together. And we're all here because a lot of us are from Immap, and all of these things come together in the digital space. The advertising field, the marketing field, we're communicating to, when my son is going to be communicated to, is going to take place online. It's going to take place on mobile. It's going to take place in social media. So it's going to take place in social media, and we all have to come together as an industry to iron these things out. I also sit on the board of the Ad Standards Council, and the Ad Standards Council is an organization that has always operated based on the principle of self-regulation of this industry. And because if we don't police ourselves, if we don't create a common code of conduct, somebody else is going to create it for us. And that's something I've always been worried about. So with that, good morning, and I hope we learned a lot this morning. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. So we will be changing our format in today's particular topic, because since this is guidelines, we needed to know what are the guidelines, and there's really no need for a panel of reactors, unlike the previous issues that we have tackled the past months. So what we will do today is we'll have 2 presentations, and after that we go straight to question and answer portion, and we'll have this microphone passed around, and when you ask questions, please identify yourself and your company, and then shoot your questions. So now we're very excited because we're really thank you for conforming Immap's invitation. We really hit the right people or experts who are supposed to give us these guidelines. So let me first thank you, Ms. Digna from PANA. Ms. Digna is the PANA's executive director. So seldom that she says her yes in the breakfast forum. And then we always work with PANA. So Immap always works with PANA. Really thank you for our cooperation. So let me now call the experts. We'll have Ms. Mila Marquez. She's the executive director of the Advertising Standards Council. Ms. Mila, maybe you can come to the floor here. And then, of course, we have the big boss. We have the Director for Communications of Nestle, Ms. Sandra Puno. So both of you can okay. So the first presenter is Ms. Sandra Puno.
Good morning. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm here as a member of the board of PANA, and I hope we will finish on time because I prepared quite a number of charts. Let me just introduce to you PANA. As you know, it's a 300+ members association in the Philippines, and I wanted to point out the red marks there, which says consumers should be the primary concern of advertisers, and that public confidence in advertising should be promoted. And that is the purpose of my presentation today. We are a self-regulating industry, and that's why Bayland is doing a tremendous job of trying to give self-regulation in place. How long has this been in the country?
Another 60.
On our 6th year. But self-regulation has been there for 40 years. So I think we're one of the very few countries where really self-regulation is thriving. And we are a member, PANA is a member of the World Federation of Advertisers and the Ad Standards Council. WFA is called World Federation of Advertisers. It's a worldwide network of 57 national advertisers and over 60 of the world's top 100 advertisers. It actually covers 90% of global spend. And it is good for us to be affiliated with this because then we come to know of developments in the global space that will concern us as well. Responsible communication and children, I think you put it very succinctly. I am also very concerned about children, and I treat this as a personal advocacy. I have 3 children who are all grown up, and I have 2 grandchildren. I'm very, very protective of my grandchildren. It's a global concern. It's a self-regulatory imperative. In 1999, advertising was not an issue. It was not. It was treated very positively, as you can see here. Parents who cite TV ads as top 5 influence 80+%, 86%. So it was taken very positively and seen as a good catalyst for their lives. But the public health debate started in the year 2000, what is called as the commercialization of childhood. And what does this mean? It means that they're now trying to say, is there really value in advertising? Or is it something that ought to be controlled? Let us first refresh our minds on the value of advertising. I do not want this to be a one-way thing. So I wanted to ask a number of you, what do you think is the value of advertising? Do you think it really has value? Yes? Yes, big letter. Anybody agrees with her? I'm just very curious. Do you think there's value in advertising? Yes.
I think it would be incorrect to say that advertising has value. Advertising builds value. It is probably a bit closer to it.
Very good point. Any other ideas? Oh, yes. Anyone? I mean, we're all, in one way or the other, in the advertising industry. He said, Mr. Bachelor said it builds value, and I completely agree with him. Yes, yeah.
Hi, I'm Yayu. We're in the CRM business, but despite that, we do value the role of advertising because you still need to do that to create awareness across the public. But even if we're into very much direct advertising, as you would call it, yes, there is value in advertising.
Thank you very much. So let us refresh our minds. This is a global figure. Advertising drives economic growth. Advertising fueled about 15% of growth in GDP for the major G20 countries. And in the Philippines, I don't know the exact figures, but definitely advertising contributes to the GDP. Advertising provides choice and creates value for consumers. The very competitiveness is fueled by advertising. And because that is such, it allows us to have better products, a range of choices. It pays for sports, culture, advocacies, and more. You know that Nestle is a health and wellness company, and it actually allows us to have that advocacy and progress it year on year. And people understand these benefits. Interestingly, if you say fun, sports, and culture, 81% agrees with that. And all the way down to what you say, informed society, 62%. So I would suppose that all of us here in this room do recognize the value that advertising may build or that it has. But advertising must be responsible. And I do not think that any one of you will disagree with that. Advertising has to be responsible, especially when it comes to children. Trust in advertising. This is a global chart. You will see that the red marks represent less than 60% who positively responds to advertising in these countries. But for the most part, 70%, 74.4%, are still reacting positively to advertising, including our own country. I think it's interesting because every now and then we run some researches, and you know, when you have qualitative research, you will see that consumers say, oh, I love the advertising in the Philippines, which is good. But there are global debates on 3 points: food marketing, fueled by the obesity issue, children's privacy, and commercialization and sexualization of childhood. Marketing to children, there are pressure marks here. The red ones already indicate a very negative response to the value of advertising when it comes to children. And there are already thoughts of bill spending globally in various parts of the world. And the green still is positive. And it can only retain this positivity if we become really responsible. Obesity is a global concern. As you all know, it is non-communicable diseases, also known as NCD. And it is a factor in significant reduction in quality of life and a greater risk of bullying, teasing, and social isolation. It is the 5th leading risk for global deaths, and about 2.8 million adults die each year. Greater than 60% of deaths are due to non-curable diseases. These are cardiovascular, etc., cancer, and the like. And 170 million children below 18 years old are overweight, according to the World Health. So with that, an a European Union voluntary pledge was done December 2007. This is a live pledge. What does a live pledge mean? It continuously updates itself to take into consideration what is happening and even impose stricter measures if necessary. The founding members are this company for this one. And there are platforms, certain specific provisions on what the pledge is all about. I will not take you through that because I will zero in on what is the local pledge. RAC now, it is handled by the WFA, currently brings together about 500 advertisers. So it is growing, and our task is actually to get more and more advertisers involved and advertising-related communities involved to make a pledge to children. What is it like in the Philippines in terms of NCDs or nutrition? For that, I would like to call my colleague, Leslie Go Alcantara, who is our nutrition health and wellness champion, to take you through the charts.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So what is it like in the Philippines? We already saw that worldwide we have 170 million obese children. So in the Philippines, we have what we call the National Nutrition Survey, which is done by NRI. This is every 5 years. So the latest one is 2008, and this is the figures that we will be seeing today. So today, in terms of adults, there's already slight increase in overweight. It's already around 30% of the Philippines. However, if you see the children, only 3% would be overweight or obese. Now, you'll see that as Filipinos grow older, they become heavier. However, I'm sure in your experiences, most of us are in Manila. If you look at where your children or your nephews or nieces go to school, you will see a lot of overweight children. And the 3% is really concentrated mostly in urban areas. So for adolescents, these are the figures. 1 out of 10 are energy deficient. So aside from the overweight, we also have the undernourished. So that's what we call the double burden. We have the burden of overweight, we also have the burden of undernutrition. So for adolescents, 10 to 19 years old, 7 out of 100 are overweight. That's a very, very low figure. And in adults, 3 out of 10. So it's increasing as we grow older. So for underweight, well, this is it. If we look at underweight, the people who are younger are more underweight, and then the adults, of course. It becomes the opposite figure. You will see opposite figures. So for underweight and undernutrition, 2 out of 10 are underweight for preschoolers, and then 3 out of 10 are underweight for 0 to 5. And when it becomes for adolescents, the figure becomes lower. And then we have this thing called the Millennium Development Goal for the government, where we target lowering the reduction for poverty. And they grow up, they have a very big chance of having this NCD. Now the problem is if you are underweight, then the increase of chance of having disease is very high, and therefore there's a very big chance of early death. So I was thinking, personally, is it better to be overweight because at least you can still prevent to have that? But if you're underweight, or it's a very big chance that the children will not be performing in school and they will be very sick. So going back to Hannah, I started with it.
The answer to Leslie's question, no. It is not going to be overweight and underweight. I will tell you, Leslie, how many pounds did you lose?
Before, when I was in creative services, but actually, yeah, I'm still under this anesthesia. So for 6 years already, I've been exercising to reduce my weight. Because when I enter Nestle, because people in Nestle, when we enter, are basically normal weight people. And then after after that, of course, when we start working, most of us, we sit down, we face the computer, and we have no activity. So I gained a lot of weight. I became, the clinic declared me as obese 1 back in 2004. And so I tried to lose weight, and I lost half of weight, and then I gained it back, but not completely. So when I was in wellness last year in August, of course, this time I get to meet a lot of people, and we support groups like Jim Saret's activity, wherein we have 250 people. Most of them are overweight, and they exercise together to reduce their risks of lifestyle diseases, and they really want to lose weight. And that was when I thought, okay, maybe when I'm being introduced as a nutrition, health, and wellness head, I should also look at HW. So from September until now, I lost around 30 pounds already, and I'm finally within normal.
I tell you, that is not easy. She's actually my conscience because I love sitting down, sitting down and eating. And every time I get a bit of weight, she tells me, "Mother, you have to lose weight," because that's good. But I am very happy that I am with Nestle. I'm very happy that I am with PANA because PANA truly supports the need for everyone to promote a healthier lifestyle for our children in terms of products and services. But please do not judge people in the context of their weight, because sometimes what you may see as weight ang bigat hindi, it might be normal for him. So you really need to get an expert opinion. Okay, PANA commitments help support the healthy lifestyle and reassure consumers that advertisers are behaving responsibly and providing the transparent process for the monitoring and review of advertising practices. What does it mean? Actually, I will give an example of because I don't have it now, I can only show you what we in Nestle, for example, do in the context of malnutrition. At Nestle, we are playing an active role in helping to address overnutrition and undernutrition. And one of the projects that I will show you is work on by Nestle with FNRI, and the author of that project is Babyline. Babs, you want to say hi? Give a little background on this project.
We've seen the problem of malnutrition, as mentioned by Ms. Sandra and Leslie. We have actually 3 types. We have the undernutrition, overnutrition, and what we don't know is micronutrient deficiency, which is also a type of malnutrition. So this is a condition of the body wherein we lack essential vitamins and minerals. So we know that most of our products now are fortified with these essential vitamins and minerals. So we want to know the impact of these products to the health of our school children. And so we partner with FNRI in terms of looking into the benefit of fortified milk drinking and look at the improvement in terms of the, for example, iron, zinc, and vitamin C. And so we have this study now, and we're proud to show you the results of this collaborative work with FNRI.
Thank you. So we'll show the video now.
Yung mga bata ang nagiging drop-out. Isang dahilan dito ay kakulangan sa nutrisyon.
rito ay ang pag-inom ng gatas na may dagdag iron, zinc at vitamin C araw-araw. Kami sa Nestle, kasamang FNRI-UST, ay gumawa ng isang pilot study. Gusto namin malaman ang impact ng pag-inom nito sa nutrisyon ng mga mag-aaral.
Pumunta kami sa 6 na paaralan at mahigit sa 100 bata na may edad na 6 na taong gulang. Lahat sila ay chinek up namin. Tiningnan namin kung ano ang level ng zinc, vitamin C at iron nila. Pinainom namin sila ng gatas na may dagdag iron, zinc, and vitamin C from Monday to Friday. At with Saturday at Sunday, hiningi namin ang tulong ng kanilang mga ina sa pagpapainom nito. Sa loob ng 4 na buwan, nakita namin ang magandang pagbabago. Unang-una, gumanda ang nutrisyon ng mga bata. Tumaas ang level ng kanilang iron, zinc, at vitamin C. Hindi na sila micronutrient deficient. Maaari itong makatulong magpatibay sa kanilang mga resistensya dahil importante ang maging present sila sa paaralan araw-araw. Kaya maganda talaga ang naitulong ng pag-inom ng pinatibay na gatas araw-araw.
Based on this video, you can see that there's so much we can do from a product standpoint. And why are we promoting the advertising of this one? It is because you have to open the eyes and minds of mothers the problem of micronutrient deficiency, which may not be relevant, which may not be they may not be aware of, and it is very relevant to them. So when you have such a case, then they say, oh, in the past they might say, ay, tatamad-tamad naman, tatamad ka dyan, ikaw yung mapapasok na. You may not know that he or she probably has micronutrient deficiency. Okay, so that's just one example. There are a whole lot of healthy lifestyles that you're seeing from panel companies, like meron mga program for marathons and all of that. Now, having said that, I go back to my presentation and I will take you through, okay. Sorry, hinahanap pa niya. So, as I said, it is very important that as advertisers we take cognition of what we can serve to society. And for us, because it's very clear for us that our mission in Nestle is as we have done the last 100 years, is to nurture children, we take that to heart. There, I think we're close. It's okay. We can project it and I can just forward it. So, that's what I said about the panel commitments. And panel is very much committed to responsible advertising in children. You may not be aware, but a pledge has been signed by a number of companies. This is the Philippine Food and Beverage Alliance. And these are the signatories. There you have Coke, you have my CEO, you have Kraft, PepsiCo, Unilever, and you have Mars. And then more companies that sign in. You have Kellogg's, you have Pure Foods, San Miguel, and a host of others, DIY, and Magnolia. So what is this pledge all about? It's about advertising products to children under 12 years of age. Must be for products that fulfill specific nutrition criteria per product category. And for purposes of this pledge, we all agree that advertising to children under the age of 12 years of age means advertising that intentionally targets children under 12 and advertising to media audiences with an intended minimum of 50% children under 12 years of age. And at the time we said advertising covers TV and print media. What does it mean? It means that we said we will not talk to children in media when the audience of that program is will be children under 12 will comprise 50% of the audience. And that is a commitment that we all made. Now, of course, there will be products that are targeted to mothers. That's a different thing that is not covered by this, because we believe that mothers can actually decipher what will be good or not good for their children. But children actually are too young to determine that. No commercial communication to primary school students will be conducted except if it is specifically requested by or agreed with the school. So those are the key principles, and there's a compliance and monitoring that PANA is Now we're trying to invite as many companies to sign and sign and be part of the pledge. The other debates that are going on is children's privacy and commercialization and sexualization of childhood. In various parts of the world already, there are bills seeking not to track children, not to get and accumulate information on children. You will see here certain things that are happening. In the UK, for example, the mothers find that 82% of parents already believe that Christmas is too commercialized. In the UK also, certain surgeons have called for a ban on cosmetics advertising. And in France and Sweden, a supermarket and kids store release unisex Christmas gift catalogs for children. So there are different developments all over the world that impact on data protection and privacy of children. And here, this map will show you how consumers are responding to that. For the most part, it's still a yellow. But if advertisers do not act and protect children's rights, you will see this coming into red soon. Body image and advertising generally is still green. But as I said, again, we need to protect our children. And it doesn't have to be because of what is happening in the world. It is because we love our children. We love our children, we need to protect them. And internet. Why are we here before you now? We all understand that internet is really booming, rapidly progressing. And 45% of internet users are under 25. This is from the WFA. In developing countries, 30% of those under 25 use the internet. So you will see that it's like breathing for ilan dito are under 25. How many of you are under 25? Under 25 years of age, you really will tend to be more internet savvy. 38% of children aged 9 to 12 on Facebook. And the parents, look at the parents. 68% of parents help their child create their account. I have a cousin who, the day after his son was born, I already had an invitation from his son to join the Facebook page of his son. And I was like, hey, he's only 1 day old. But their parents actually put up the page of the son. And 7.5 million users under 13 are on Facebook. 39% of them are on, I don't know what SNS is. Social networking. What are the regulatory challenges there? It's the effectiveness of age gating. Meaning, how do you really prevent children who are younger than 12 or 13 from coming into certain pages and sites? The privacy environment marketing. If you look at mobile devices, only 13% of children have security settings on their phones. And therefore, they're already open to cyberbullying and inappropriate websites. And the regulatory challenges, child safety, privacy, and parental control. These are very real, especially in the context of predators really of children. If you look at this, increased brand engagement, we know that digital is far more engaging because it's a one-on-one. And if you do not take care of our children, they'll be so engrossed in the geolocation, kidnapping, privacy. It's really it's a very tricky environment. And therefore, we really urge everyone to hold hands and take care of our children. Here, it is blurring of advertising and editorial content and unfair misleading advertising. And we're urging our members to take note of that and be cognizant of that. I remember when my son was, he was about 6 at the time. He was 6 years old and it was Holy Week. I remember that very clearly. He was watching all of these religious shows. And he was in the other room and I was in my own bedroom. Pero yung bedroom namin may butas so he could come in and out. And then he runs to me and told me, Mama, do you know that Jesus is Bisaya? I said, no, he's not. No, he is Bisaya. They said in the TV, Jesus is Bisaya. No, I said, that's Jesus is the Messiah. So, sometimes we don't understand how and that's why we have to be very careful about how we talk to them. And as I mentioned earlier, traditional versus digital marketing, if you ask me, the greater responsibility is on digital marketers because the power of engagement and influence is very, very powerful in digital. So let's take care of our children. NGOs are becoming very critical of digital marketing. This is in the global space. Online spending is increasing. They feel that advertisers have not developed strong digital marketing policies. Boundaries are actually blurred. And they felt that children really are going to be very vulnerable to the things that we do in the digital space. And more importantly, the age gating, which is age verification and how you actually control their being exposed and being taken advantage of in online. They felt that self-regulation is falling short, but there are responsible practices. One of these is simply putting this is advertising, or when you have a game, you actually input certain hours where they have to take a break. They cannot progress with the game. And a lot of other things. Now, some very practical, good practice communications. Don't blur the lines. If it is advertising, state that it is so. Advertising and it is not really content. Privacy. Let us ensure that we are able to prevent younger than 12 from entering and playing and getting into what are supposed to be adult content or even mainstream content. Don't do online what you can't do offline. I think all of these are simple and we know that. And this is from the ICC, the International Chamber of Commerce. Very pragmatic, very down to earth. Not exploit inexperience and credulity. Not minimize the degree of skill required to operate product, etc. And even no best of power. I personally do not believe in best of power. And I tell our people, do not do that because best of power is taking advantage of children who are innocent. And therefore, with that, I close with two quotations. One is Albert Einstein. The world is a dangerous place not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing. And self-regulation, let us remind ourselves, is a responsibility. And our children are our joint responsibility. Nelson Mandela is very much in the news now. He says, there can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way it treats its children. And as a Filipino, I'm very proud because I know we take extra care of our children. With that, I ask you, please join us. We hope you can come together with your own voluntary commitment to support responsible advertising in children. And these are my grandchildren. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sandra. That was informative as well as very entertaining. Thank you. Thank you for the Nestle team giving us data and more information. So we have been given a macro perspective. At the same time, we have a case study from global companies, such as Nestle, about the focus on children and the advertising advocacy. So now we go down, as we all said, we are self-regulation in the Philippine advertising industry. So we now go down to what is happening in the Philippines and what the advertising industry in the Philippines is moving towards advocacy on advertising to children. So we give you Ms. Mila Marquez.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Sandra, for that very insightful presentation. It's as if I feel parang out of place kasi everybody has kids. I don't have kids. And I needed to lose 30 pounds for my that I gained from my operation. So parang I'm supposed to not be here. But anyway, let me tell you and start my presentation about responsible advertising to kids. The ASC actually would normally have an average of 2,000 applications for screening every month. And this would mean that this would translate to materials that go on air. And I think it would be interesting to note that kids are actually exposed to about 1,000 or over 19,000 commercials for the year. And a lot of this would really be on certain categories like food, advertising, even games. And the more reason that we have to be protective of them. Let me borrow some insights from the CMO of Unilever, Mr. Keith Wood. This is very interesting considering that one commercial of Unilever was pulled off the air globally, and this would be the commercial on Winx. And perhaps with the pull out, Unilever gained more insight and needed to look at how responsible advertising should be in place. Okay. Critically, he said that as a corporate marketer, there really is a need to make sure that children are brought up in a way that respects and develops them. So I think critically, the word respect is very important as we develop our own materials for communication as well. And that, once again, the recognition that advertising is a responsibility. In most presentations that I would have for PANA members as well as the 4As, it is very critical that we all recognize the responsibility that we have. And this would mean responsible advertising should mean that it should inspire public confidence, it should be legal, decent, and most especially advertising should be truthful and should not mislead your consumers. Okay, realizing that powerful advertising really influences the way we live our lives, and that the business of advertising, which we are all in as communicators, really is a responsibility. Okay. Okay. We do need to recognize that children actually has the greater susceptibility to manipulation and the effects of using unrealistic images and stereotypes. Socialists would actually tell you that a child under age of 6 does not have the cognitive ability to recognize what is advertising, what is a marketing program, and they really take in whatever they see or hear, and that is really the importance of how we should be really responsible in communicating to them. Okay. The average child, as I mentioned earlier, watches about 4 hours of television in a day and sees more than 20,000 commercials each year. And really, the growing concern, not only globally but also in our local environment, is really the advertising of food to kids. Okay. If you will note that if you have visited our website, there is a special section there that is really focused on advertising to children. Honestly, this is not the only time that the Ad Standards Council or the industry for that matter is reacting to responsible advertising to children. As Ms. Sandra mentioned earlier, self-regulation in our country has been observed for over 40 years now. And that it meant that our country, the Philippines, is unique in the region in the sense that we have the experience, we have the expertise when it comes to content regulation, and we have always been looked at by other countries as a case study or best practice when it comes to content regulation. Going specifically to the section on advertising to kids, let me give you the highlights of those provisions. There is a specific provision there which talks about medicines and drugs. And critically, it only meant that in all advertising of pharmaceutical products, kids will not endorse any pharmaceutical or medical product. They should also be seen in the execution with the parents or with the mom particularly, and never will they be shown consuming the product on their own. Okay. Now when it comes to safety and propriety, this is the section or provision which the Code of Ethics of the ASC is very particular on and has extensive discussions in terms of the provision that we have. It critically said that advertisement should not encourage children, should not encourage reckless or improper and antisocial behavior, and should not show children in activities that would normally not be allowed by responsible adults for reason of safety and propriety. This only meant that they could executionally, they could not or they should not be shown, for example, performing cooking tasks where they're using knives because they might be in danger when they actually, use it. Children should not, advertisement should not undermine children's enjoyment of present stature. Ads directed primarily at children should not exploit them, especially their natural credulity. As I said, children below 6 years old, they do not recognize or they do not have the cognitive ability to really recognize that what they're seeing really are sometimes just creative executions. Okay. Again, once again on safety and propriety, it also meant that children, advertisement to kids should not contain delicate references to infirmities. For example, you do not show a situation where kids are being teased, or for example, showing a disabled child in a commercial to play up his or her situation in life. Advertising materials also should avoid sensationalizing, stereotyping, prejudging, or exploiting children with disabilities or children belonging to minority or indigenous groups. I think as Ms. Sandra mentioned earlier, sometimes what they see or hear on television, they actually assume as the truth. So that's why we're supposed to really be careful in all our executions, specifically if these are advertising directly to kids. And sometimes, even indirectly, kids can actually absorb what they see on air. Okay. Advertisements directed to children shall not contain elements that might be physically, mentally, psychologically, or morally harmful to children. And then we should not depict children performing acts or languages or attired in a manner that are vulgar or obscene. I think, in fact, even in programming, there was already a case at the SWD when a particular show really showed kids also dressed up like mga sexy dancers or macho dancers. In fact, I think the industry, the advertising industry, is far more stricter when it comes to really having provisions that would safeguard the presentation of kids in commercials. Again, the dignity of the child must be respected at all times. They should not be demeaned or for her innocence be exploited. Critically, we also said that materials directed to children should not foster violence as a desirable way or means of resolving conflict and problems. I think from an execution standpoint, most of the creative agencies are familiar with the provisions. So it is really very minimal in the ASC that we would encounter executions that actually depict children in a violent way. I think the industry is cognizant and really very careful when it comes to advertising to children. I must give it to all the advertisers that they put priority when it comes to advertising to children. Okay. On merchandising, typically brand names, logos, or trademarks of alcoholic beverage and cigarettes and tobacco should not be used even to merchandise on t-shirts of kids and even in toys. So, very important provision, especially if advertisers would like to go or to promote their brands when it comes to mga even toys. Okay. Purchase influence, I think advertising directed to children shall in no way mislead children as to the product's performance and usefulness. So you cannot claim otherwise. In fact, advertisement should also not encourage children to purchase products or services to support the existence of a TV show or a cable program. For example, this would be relevant when it comes to, for example, advertising toys or advertising games to kids, because kids should not be influenced to be purchasing online technically or to be calling yung mga home cable TV shopping. However, we realize also the danger because the kids can easily be influenced kasi when it comes to purchasing. So, beware, keep your credit cards not inside of kids. Kasi I think there were also certain incidents before when yung mga home cable TV shoppings would actually really parang get orders from kids because by the use of the credit cards. Okay, law of the land. In fact, through all of this, we should be cognizant that advertising or the advertisements including children should follow and comply with all pertinent laws, rules, and regulations. This would mean that if you will use kids in advertising, you would have to go through the process of getting the permit from the Department of Labor and Employment. It's very critical that when they shoot, there is already a dole permit. So while the ASC will provide and approve with caution on boards that would really feature children, we will not actually release the clearance to air or clearance to publish until they are able to submit the documentation from the DOLE. Okay, the use of children in advertisements, really, children should be presented as being in contact with or demonstrating product recognized potentially dangerous to them. This is actually really part of the Magna Carta for children, and that no child should be used directly or indirectly in advertisements of gambling, gaming institutions, or even games of chance. In fact, kids should not and will not or will never be allowed to be shown in an advertising for alcohol products. Okay. ANC guidelines definitely addresses all media, meaning the guideline applies to all platforms and even digital. For that matter, digital is post-screen. However, at the ASA, we do realize that more and more we would like to call on the Immap to make sure that you aggressively actually develop provisions that would address specific behavior that is unique to the medium. Because the reality is that when the ASC code was actually developed, we were really looking at it from a traditional media standpoint. But we do realize that more and more digital is becoming really the platform. And with due recognition, I would like to urge you as members of Immap to actively and proactively really work with the ASC in developing provisions that would address your concerns. Which are not concerns that might not even be in the ASC code currently. Okay, when we refer to the international standards on digital advertising, there were several notes or influences that they would like us, the Standards Council locally, to really look at. And perhaps I don't really have to explain it extensively because I do believe that you, as stakeholders of this platform, are the ones who would know the business, and pretty much this is the idea by which the members of the ASC really adhere to, that you as the stakeholders of this platform should actively support the idea of self-regulation. Otherwise, more and more we are feeling the pressure from other government regulatory bodies to really take over the idea of regulation. And I hope that we all realize that we are the better executors of self-regulation because we have the experience, we have the expertise and the knowledge to effectively self-regulate and review our content. Okay. The reality is that some marketers and some consumers are actually asking the ASC as well. So how do we protect our children from corporate marketers, and especially when it comes to digital? More and more, when it comes to the traditional media, the code of ethics kasi is very well in place. But for digital, realizing the fact that it is so dynamic that in 1 hour, your advertising or your communication can change, diba? So even the government, even the DTI recognizes the fact that it is going to be very difficult for them to monitor. The answer critically is this. Okay, the rise of social media really is the best way by which parents can actually protect their kids when it comes to digital advertising. The digital space or the social networking has given parents and has given consumers really the voice to make complaints, to actually elevate their concerns when it comes to advertising, not only advertising to kids but advertising in general. So I think the digital space more and more will be given due recognition because of its power to voice out. It can actually build or destroy your communication, your platform. So this is the reason why more and more I believe that you, as members of this organization, should really push hard and work hard to have and look at provisions that would be part of the ASC guidelines to better protect our consumers. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mila. So we now come to question and answer. We just would like to request Ms. Mila and Ms. Sandra to come on the table, and maybe you can share the microphones. And please raise your hand if you have a question. Okay, our Immap Board, Ed Mama.
Good morning. Just a comment, and maybe we also want to get your thoughts on this, and particularly the Vice President and the President of Immap. And one of the reasons why I was very interested to attend is because, like you folks, I also have grandchildren. And it amazes me that my 5-year-old grandchild is literally in digital. And my observation is clearly, without question, the advertising industry is going out of its way to really monitor advertising. My question is regarding content creators. In as much as we may regulate the content in advertising, the reality in today's world is I might monitor content in advertising, but content outside is something very, very broad. And I'm just curious on how are we addressing the realities. In as much as I'm with you folks in responsible advertising, and definitely I'm there with you. And I think we have seen it in the advertising industry, how we really are very conscious in advertising message. But in today's world, particularly even social media, even blogs, right? The unique thing about the digital space is actually a 5-year-old can actually pick up blogs. And in social media, even issues such as rape, which we all know what was the latest issue there offline, these are areas that are being touched, are touch points with today's children. Just your thoughts on how we can address it, and how, as an industry, what are the visions we have in addressing this?
Wow, that's a really tough one. And I think that I'm personally experiencing that as well with my 4-year-old, and there's really, in this media space, in this time when a 3-year-old, 2-year-old, 4-year-old, can ask his mother for, "Mama, what's your Apple password?" or just navigate from link to link on YouTube. It's really a problem, and I think that for me as a parent, but kind of like the only answer is really to interact very deeply with my child and kind of help him out. And maybe one of the things that this industry can do is educate the public on kind of like responsible internet behavior or responsible internet usage as a parent. The entire nature of the web, it's designed to be open. So I actually wonder if we police it too heavily, will it destroy what it's essentially there for. So, but at the same time, it's like it's kind of about parents monitoring usage, parents understanding what kind of media their kids are consuming, and there always be that disconnect between what parents know and what kids can do. But I guess just now more than ever that gap has to be bridged.
Thank you, Ed. I think that's a very difficult question that you have actually posed to us. Content, for that matter, is not only relegated to the development of advertising. You realize that this is the reason why the Ad Standards Council is in very close coordination with certain groups when it comes to content. In fact, I think it is not only the purview of the ASC to manage content regulation and advertising, but in fact, we've started to also call the attention of the MTRCB or the KBP when it comes to even a close scrutiny or close scrutiny of even programming. And I really think that as an industry, we should push more and more to put to forth the reality that kids are actually influenced by what they see, what they hear, and not only in the context of advertising, because even programs, if you will note, really would, why is it that there are a lot of kids na may pagkamaldita? Because this is exactly what they see on teleseries, di ba? And while it would take a second level, because this is not really the purview of Ad Standards Council, but it is always our responsibility to also call the attention of the KBP, who would in turn coordinate with the NTRCB on this one. We are also trying to call on the networks when it comes to shows specifically catering to kids, but the theme that they are discussing are really very adult. I don't really have to specify which shows are this, but more and more the networks should also be responsible in the quality of content that they are coming out with, especially when these are shows that are directed to kids.
Interesting. Again, let me talk from personal perspective. My children, umpisa pa lang nun, diba, yung mga beeper, bata pa sila ganyan. And then, beeper pa lang naman. Pager, si Maning Congressman, Maning Manao. And then, and the computers. And I remember my brother-in-law said, my children, they are never going to touch computers until they're this age. Why are you allowing them? I said, because there's no stopping computers. There's no stopping the digital age. And they must learn to cope with that. So, now that they're older, I see the advantage. My children know how to manage this. So what am I saying? I'm saying that there's no stopping it. And this is the reason why we're here. It is going to be a multi-sectoral effort. I was just funny because when we were whispering to each other, Dina and I was saying, maybe we should call for a meeting for even other companies that are not in food and get them to engage really responsible advertising to children. PANA is also in a position to be discussing with AS and the KPP, and we do that on an ongoing basis. But what is important are the digital creators, and that's why we're appealing here, because many of our agencies, including our digital agencies, our creative agencies, everyone, if we all come together and say no, we will not take advantage of children, and we will be responsible of what we communicate to children, then we will be able to protect them. As simple as doing a campaign to advise parents to be more cognizant of the need to protect their children in digital space. So, Dignan, that's a topic we could probably look at.
Just to add also, specific to Immap, I think the thing with the environment right now is there's a lot of gray area, but there's a lot of gray. So I think the best weapon against gray area is information. Getting together as a body, as in different industry bodies, and putting forward certain advocacies in terms of the right behavior as advertisers, as marketers, as agencies. But I think specific to Immap, we are actually doing a review of the Code of Ethics for Internet Advertising, and we hope to complete that in the next 3 months. With that, we will definitely put together a point of view on advertising to children.
Yeah, just to add them, basically, the PANA is a member of the World Federation of Advertisers. They do have a program in the UK. It's called Smart Kids. It's actually a module on how to teaching kids how to use the internet wisely and productively. It involves a module for teachers and a module for parents. And actually, we're being encouraged to share that also with our DepEd, so they can use it. Kasi nga, you can't avoid
digital. So might as well guide the users. So the children will be guided and they know what to watch out for. So that's something that we can maybe also share with the rest.
Okay. One more from Ed. Okay.
Sandra, I'm glad that you mentioned it. It's actually a total community that should be bonding together. But I guess I'm also glad that the IMAP president is now saying that we're reviewing the code of ethics. But I guess what inspires me in just hearing you folks is because I've seen also, and we all know this, other markets, such even UK, do try, and even the US, to amplify to the whole world on how important it is for them. Yes, it's an open world, Mike. We all know that in digital. But I guess this intention, this event itself, I think that's where I find it very good. This is so timely. I think we should also to make sure that even global publishers such as a Yahoo and a Facebook must in a way understand the gravity of concern of the industry. And by doing that, their own little steps, they will also do it. Because we've seen it in other markets successfully. If the industry band together, yes, you cannot censor it. There's no issue about it. But regulating it the way we have been regulating advertising content, even programming. I admire corporate sponsors that take a stand regarding content that should not be broadcasted. In the same breath, I think we should also do that now. I mean, with the growth of mobile, we must already early in this game do something about it. And I find the words coming from you folks together that we're going to bond together. I'm looking forward to it because during my generation, yung tawag mo yung pelikula ni Superman, old and traditional Superman. Now you're seeing Superman literally, not the old Superman before. So it's as a parent and as a grandfather, I'm very much concerned on how it's evolving and how us in the industry should also find a way to evolve together.
Thank you very much, Ed. Not anymore Superman, but Man of Steel. Anyway, when I was in our board in 2011, one of the very things that really close to my heart is really the values formation. So I guess, let me ask Ms. Sandra, what we're doing here in ASC is not just purely saying what is do and what is don't. I think what is more equally important is the values formation that goes with it in affecting our children with regards to content of our ads and also our overall advocacy. Now my question is, Ms. Sandra, we've seen the advocacy of Nestle as to food, nutrition, and all of this. What about themes for values formation for children?
Interestingly, you will see that more and more there are entities that are giving awards. And we have, of course, our Panaka Awards, which is value-driven. And of course, you also see the Tambuli Awards and a lot more others that have these Arrow Values Awards and the like. You ask me if values sell, and I will tell you it does. Perhaps one of the most glaring examples to us that values, in fact, that our Filipinos embrace value, is when we launched our centennial campaign. When we launched our centennial campaign in celebration of our 100 years, we said we are going to produce 10 short films of 10 minutes each. And the directors, the commercial directors who did our ads, we told them, we want you to do values advertising. We do not want a film that sells our products. Our products are part of Filipinos' life, so it could be there, but we will not censor anything that you present to us just to insist that, oh, what is the story should revolve around the product, come up with it. And when they did, we were very happy with the values that were communicated in the 10 films. And I tell you, it's a limited edition film, but so many sectors till this time continue to ask for that. And with the sweep of all the awards, which we never asked for. I remember the advertising awards in the Congress. And when we won there, I was surprised because we never entered as Nestle. But the different entities, the production houses, etc., entered. And that shows you that, Pinoys embrace values. More than that, actually, it is educational teachers and work Department of Education employees would come to us and tell us, Mom, do you still have the films? And that really makes you realize how hungry our Pinoys are, our teachers are for value content so that they could impart it to the children. So those are we will continue to do values advertising.
Thank you. So we'll have another question from Ms. Yayo.
I think this is a great idea of doing this campaign. As a matter of fact, I think they're doing it in other countries. It might be a great idea for all of us to put all our sources together, because this is very important. Again, I'm also a grandmother. Maraming mga lolo at lola dito. And I do see it like my 4-year-old granddaughter actually checks out also the internet. But in addition to the different sectors like PANA and Immap, and I think Immap as a member, I think it would be a great advocacy campaign for us to get involved in information. But possibly also to look into the education sector, the schools and that ed, because I think we have to put, we have to get them involved in this because they can actually also educate the children on what not to look at and what to watch out for. So a great campaign of all sectors and government sectors to really promote and give more information about the effects of this one would be, I think, a good idea.
Thank you, Ms. Yayo. Here's another question. Maybe we can state our name, our company.
Sorry, this is not really a question, but I'm very happy and pleased that I attended this. By the way, I'm Rina from Annie Valley, Saffron Hill. And I like the tonality of the session today because it sounds like a PTA to me. And it is really important for me now that I realize that the industry is becoming more and more sensitive because we've also tested some materials where there are children in those campaigns. And I'm happy to hear that there are institutions like this one that would actually help me, as a parent and not just being a marketer or being part of this industry. And I'm really proud that I'm part of this as well, in a way that I'm contributing to the aims and goals of the organization. And now I'm really happy that there are organizations that will help me filter, screen what I also read in my daughter's Facebook and also Instagram. And that is really good because I thought it was a challenge for me since I don't have much time to really guide them and watch and really monitor what they watch on TV. But because of this, I feel more secure now, as a parent. Thank you.
Thank you very much for such a very good comment. I'm so glad that the community has recognized the collaborative efforts of the Philippine advertising industry, particularly, of course, PANA and Immap. We are already building it, and we're very sensitive to this because we always see our children as the hope of the motherland and of our motherland, and there is no way for us but to do collaborative efforts towards nation building. So, any other question?
One PowerPoint, and I think back to Ed's first question. Parang the digital space has very open nature. I think presupposes that the only way that this is gonna work is not the police way. It's gotta be a voluntary way. And we have to ask ourselves, are the mechanisms in place to kind of help self-regulation along? And it has to, and it's entirely voluntary. It's entirely on us. It's agencies already kind of when they're thinking of creative ideas or creative executions, they already have these guidelines on the table. It's advertisers who won't greenlight a problematic execution, so it never sees the light of day. And then if something still falls through the cracks, it gets out there, reprehensible video on YouTube, for instance. Are the social media mechanisms in place to call this out and say, no, that's reprehensible, this advertiser, somebody's got to do something about this. But, bring it up to the ASC, bring it up to the BPI or BFAT or whatever, and to have these things, to compel them to take this down, facing a potential backlash. But again, it's not the stick, no? It's very voluntary. It takes, each one of us has to be out there, not just as marketers, but as parents, educators, content creators, just behaving more responsibly. Before that, walang batas na bawal to, we can, just go nuts, right? So there, it's a scary time, but interesting.
Thank you, Mike. We'd like to manage time because time check is already 10 a.m. If you have any other questions, please email them to Immap Secretariat, and then we email it also to our experts and our resource speakers, and we will get back to you with regards to answers to your questions. Okay, let me just plug a little bit our next month's theme for our breakfast in the morning. For next month, we have lined up actually ASC guidelines. Actually, the advertising to children is just one part of the overall Advertising Standards Council guidelines. And we want everybody, especially Immap and non-Immap members, to know what's the overall advertising guidelines. It has now, we update it every year, I'm sure, and there are new landscapes coming in, and we want to update our members and the community about the Ad Standards Council. Next one is our digital trade practice. That is actually our DTCC as in the digital space, in the overall advertising industry in the Philippines, and we look forward for September for DFAD guidelines. So we will update you as we go along. Every month we have this breakfast in the morning for you. So one parting shot from our resource speaker, but let me first have a parting shot coming from the Immap president before the resource speakers.
Hi, morning. Well, basically, as we end this PTA meeting, as Rina mentioned, I think we have a full lineup. We envision this whole series monthly as a dynamic tool to be able to come together and discuss issues. So, because as the industry evolves, we don't always have the answers ourselves, but together we may find the answers. So I guess this is the vision for the whole Breakfast in the Morning series. So before anything else, I'd like to thank Sandra, Mila, Mike, and of course Digna from PANA for gracing our occasion. We'd like to be able to work with you on concrete steps forward. Thank you.
Then we have Isina.
First of all, I'm really glad to hear from your organization that you're already working on reviewing the code and coming up with provisions, because you'll never know how much I would badger Mike. Each time we would see each other in trying to follow up para for the ASC to really work closely with the Immap. I'd like to say that the ASC is there not to censor. It is not the purview of the ASC to censor, because we continue to believe that all communication, all ads should continue to be compelling, to be engaging and creative. So all we do at the ASC is really all about reviewing the content and making sure that the content does not violate the provisions that are in the code. So I think I'd like to thank Immap for this particular session, and I'd like to look forward to more and more sessions with your organization and with the members, so that we could really work closely together in making sure that your particular industry is also protected. Thank you.
Just wanted to reiterate that PANA stands for Responsible Advertising. PANA stands for Self-Regulation. And I'm very, very happy to hear the very positive response and feedback that I get from the team because no one party can do it alone. And in fact, even as we started, we fall along the way, tao lang po, diba sabi gano'n. And then what is important is to be told, uy, mali, mukhang mali yung ginawa dyan. Ay, oo nga. Then, because you cannot possibly be right all the time. But in this particular instance, in responsible advertising to children, we believe we are on the right track. So thank you very much. I'm very, very happy to see that Immap will actually take it on and will progress it to the next